Hello, we hope you're doing well. Welcome back to another breaking esports news episode. We hope you guys all enjoy all of today's stories, which will be timestamped down below in the description. But as always, let's get into it. And first off, in big CSGO news out there, we actually had Virtus Pro, the organization, one of the longest standing organizations in CSGO's history, finally changing their jersey colors. And apparently due to actually a new sponsor, it's actually going to be Megafon, one of the largest providers for cell phone carriers in the Russian scene. So apparently they're going to change their entire jersey color for their newest sponsor, and that will be the purplish green look, which I think is kind of debatable right now. Some people are thinking it looks great, other people think it looks kind of gross. I'm kind of in between though right now. Of course, the legendary orange and black colors, which we all have come to know and love, are now officially gone. Now on top of that as well, we do have North confirming this morning a new roster change, which will be of course the acquiring of heroic member Nico, and they'll be trading away their former academy member who joined their main roster, and that will be Mertz. I think historically speaking, probably a good trade for the team themselves. Mertz has definitely been struggling on that roster, and Nico is probably going to be a big improvement for them, and that will be the announcement for North as they approach DreamHack Stockholm, and on top of that, the Face It Major. So big improvements coming for them. Of course, heroic over the past few months, they did fail to make the major themselves, so probably not too big of a, I guess, a trial period for the team to actually try out some new members, and that was actually in big news confirmed this morning. And very lastly for CSGO news, not too much news out there in the scene, hopefully more by Friday. We actually have a new aimbots kill record set by Oki. I'll link his live stream down below because after 19 hours of gameplay, this guy spent over 19 hours in the aimbot server, which I'm sure you guys are well aware of by Uletical, a friend of mine who actually made the map himself, and he broke the kill record, set the iconic record at 69,420 kills. I'm sure you guys can probably assume why he chose that number to stop on, but yes, I'm actually going to try and break that record this weekend. I think I can do it. What do you guys think? And also in very short Dota 2 news out there, as we approach TI8, we actually had the short film contest come to an end just yesterday, and over the past 36 hours, we had a lot of great submissions. I'll preview some on screen as well as link some down below for all of you guys to look at, and I love this time of year when they do this short film contest. Remember, first place, it's actually the top 10 places come away with cash prizes. I believe second place is actually $10,000, but first place, the winner of the entire short film contest, actually comes away with $25,000. So obviously, a pretty large chunk of change out there, and hundreds of submissions out there on YouTube if you guys search for them, and some of them actually were very cool. But speaking of money as well, speaking of prize pools, of course we have to talk about this. We'll talk about it probably leading up to TI8 as well, the approaching of $25 million to try and break last year's prize pool. Unfortunately enough, with all the controversy around the Immortal Treasure 3 drop, it seems we not get a big burst, a big, I guess you could say, rise in the prize pool that we saw last year, or especially 2 years ago. And unfortunately enough, at this rate, it does not seem currently that we will break the $25 million mark. Of course, we're still slightly ahead of last year's mark. We have 8 days until the TI starts, and then I guess officially 18 days until the prize pool is officially solidified. At this rate though, I do not think we're going to break 25 million, which is definitely a surprise and probably correlated heavily to the controversy around the drop rates and the bugged rates around Immortal Treasure 3 release. But we're going to find out sometime soon and shortly if we're going to beat that $25 million mark, and hopefully we will. Of course, not too big a deal if we don't, but that's it for I guess you could say Dota 2 news, and hopefully more comes by Friday. And also in big news out there for the Fortnite scene, of course, our latest patch update 5.2 brought a brand new weapon. I kind of am shocked that we're still seeing brand new weapons. And again, I think the big controversy right now is this actual weapon, is it actually going to solve the meta problem we have with the SMGs? I think the overall problem with this current meta right now is, of course, the SMGs, the left click, point and shoot, the nerfing of mats, which really kind of brings down any build quite fast nowadays. And this double barrel shotgun will probably not solve that. Although a lot of questions out there, is it too overpowered? Is it too weak? Leave a comment down below what you guys think. As of right now, I guess you could compare damage to other shotguns out there. We're going to compare it to the heavy shotgun. So up close and personal, and I mean really up close and personal, the double barrel shotgun does do the most damage of any weapon out there, doing 143 and 150 respectively. But then you compare it to a heavy shotgun, and I guess the double barrel shotgun in terms of range compared to the heavy shotgun is well less than half. And you really have to be up and close and personal, and especially when it comes to pro play, we rarely see someone actually in a 1-by-1 with each other, and that's the only instance I can actually see the double barrel shotgun really being effective, or more effective than any other weapon out there. As of right now, the heavy shotgun does same headshot damage, and again, that range is over twice as long as the double barrel shotgun. So not going to be a huge update here. I don't think it's really going to affect gameplay too much, and I think a lot of pro players out there are probably just going to choose other weapons besides double barrel. But again, also on top of that, some big updates to vending machines. Saw a huge buff. Actually, the spawn rate has actually been heavily increased, which I think is a great idea, and along with that, the mat requirements for those have actually been decreased very very heavily as well. Legendary items used to cost you 500 mats, now only 375. Epic items used to cost you 400 mats, and now only 300. I think a great improvement there that we can actually walk around the map, and you have a heavily increased spawn rate for these machines, so you don't need to get too lucky in opening chests and finding lucky drops. You can now have more vending machines, just farm your way to them, and it should be a great update, I think, in the future. Alongside that, when you guys go to your map, you can now also see your active challenges. I think it's a great update. And also going forward, we of course had brand new skins, new data mine skins. I really wonder how many skins we're going to see in this game before people think it's oversaturated, but again, they do look kind of cool. New back bling as well, and on top of that, new pickaxes. More updates coming from Fortnite, guys, and again, does it solve the problem though? I really don't think so. And in the biggest controversial story we have today, of course, coming from Riot Games, if you guys have not heard about this, of course, also in the main title, that is the sexual harassment allegations toward Riot Games. They're revolving. I figured why not put this in the League of Legends section, guys. A lot of things still have yet to come out. We'll have updates for you guys, hopefully by Friday as well as next week about this, and this will be the only League of Legends news we actually talk about today. Everything else is probably far less important. We're going to talk about the rest of that on Friday's episode, and that's actually revolving around a brand new article out there by Kotaku. If you guys have not checked that out, I will link everything you need to know down below, and that, of course, all around the sexual harassment charges, with many people actually backing these stories. We actually have Riot Games responding this morning with ESPN, and pretty much in a blanket statement, they have come forward and said, and some sort of admittance to a lot of these allegations out there, which is troubling to hear, but of course, going forward, they're going to work to prevent this for the future, as well as fix the current problems they see within the company. So hopefully, going to be a better response from Riot, and we're going to see some progression within the company in the future, but there actually have been, as of right now, currently 28 sources, currently former or actually current Riot employees backing this story and the allegations inside of it. If you guys want a TLDR on the article, it actually follows a female employee known as, I guess you could say Lisa, but that's not her real name. Of course, not going to reveal her true identity. Apparently, she was a recruiting manager for the company for about 3 years, and her ultimate goal with the company was to try and hire a female into a leadership role in the company. Now, why she eventually left Riot was because she found it impossible to do so. Every proposal she made for an employee to actually go into a leadership role was actually apparently rejected. Now, on top of that, she ran further experiments to kind of back her evidence with this, and according to this story following this character known as Lisa, she also ran another experiment inside a meeting. She actually proposed an idea inside that meeting. It kind of fell flat. It went very poorly for her, so she proposed to a male colleague. Of course, herself being a female, she went to a male colleague and said, present the same or similar idea. A few days later, he did so, and according to the article, it went over amazingly well. He received a lot of awe, he received a lot of praise, and of course, according to her, she received none of that. So a lot of allegations out there, guys. Again, currently, I'll show you some links on Twitter of all the former or current employees actually backing this story. It does not look good for Riot, but again, hopefully in the future, this kind of thing brought to light will actually only make things better for that environment in the future. A lot of allegations going on right there, right now, and again, a lot of these are actually rumors. I'm sure there is some truth behind it, but again, you got to kind of be wary about this until further evidence is presented, and we'll hopefully have more of that by Friday's episode, guys. But that's it for League of Legends news today. And very unfortunate Overwatch news. Again, we talked about this a couple last episodes. We're in that kind of awkward period, the 3 to 4 month period between Overwatch League seasons, of course, between season 1 and 2. And unfortunately enough, we're going to see probably a lot of this in the future. It's kind of weirdly timed as well for a very, very well-known player out there like Seagull. If you guys do not know, the former Dallas Fuel member, yes, I said former because apparently, as of yesterday, guys, he has now left the Dallas Fuel. He will be retiring from competitive Overwatch, but he will be going pretty much to a full-time streamer. So a lot of people on the fence about this. Some are very happy, some are very upset. I think a majority of us actually lean towards the more happy side. It's always cool to see a former pro player be able to still compete. Obviously, he's still at a high level Overwatch in himself, and again, also be able to make a solidified living on streaming. I think he'll probably make, if not more than he currently made at Dallas Fuel, probably well more than that. And he also can sit back and chill, not have to worry and stress about the pressure of being Overwatch pro. It's gonna be great to see what he can do in the future, and we might see more of this in the future as well. Of course, with the prize pools and the current pay in Overwatch probably only being increased, it's a weird thing to see right now, but we're seeing this across a lot of esports out there. Of course, former pros going to streaming, and we're going to see how Seagull does, and I think with his personality, he has a great chance out there. So our Genji god is now off the Dallas Fuel, and I cannot wait to see how successful he is off the main stage. But on top of that, very lastly as well, Hammond is now released into competitive play of Overwatch, and we will see him, of course, next season. It's going to be very cool to see what pro players actually pick him up as their players, so it's going to be cool to see how he does in competitive play, and good luck dealing with that furry little guy. And very last in today's esports news episode, of course, finishing up with Rocket League, which we do actually have drama in for the first time in a while. Of course, RLCS Season 6 roster lock was this previous week, and so of course there might be some drama around that. Players who can't find teams, players who can find teams. I do also want to briefly announce by Friday's episode or next episode, we should have some more rosters out there because we had a lot of European players who did not find rosters, and apparently there's some secret rosters being formed as we speak. But according to that, we actually have PSG drama. If you guys were actually here for last week's announcement, it was actually PSG who named Fruity their newest member and Bluey their newest sub, and according to rumors out there, it was actually PSG who would not let Bluey go. Of course, being a sub player, many people out there want to play for a main roster. They want to play at the events and actually be on the stage themselves. Apparently, Bluey was actually not allowed to leave that team, even though we've seen him playing with several assortions out there, several different teams at different events. So accordingly as well, if you guys have been watching the European qualifiers for, of course, that's going to be the Universal Season 2 qualifier out of Europe, the top 4 teams will actually go through and join all the North American teams for Season 2 of that. It's a pretty big event, and unfortunately enough, it was actually Bluey and PSG at the event. I say unfortunately because Bluey's team is actually out of the event, but it was very curious as well because they were both there, PSG and Bluey, playing for separate teams. So Bluey was actually playing with Jesse as a team name known as Bill Gates, and PSG was playing with 2 of their members. So accordingly to rumors, apparently the drama has actually dispersed itself, and apparently going forward, PSG will sometime soon be releasing Bluey from that contract or from that sub role. That's what we think as of right now. We'll hopefully have more by Friday's episode. And very lastly as well, some other roster changes out there. We actually have Team Secret making changes. Freaky has now joined their roster, as well as a new football club out there. Many of you guys probably have heard about them. AS Monaco have now announced their brand new roster guys. Econ, Porto, and Yukis have now joined that team officially. So it's going to be cool to see how they do in the future, as we see many football clubs out there getting into the esports scene, whether it's CSGO teams, other teams as well, and now Rocket League. AS Monaco has now been our newest addition to Rocket League teams out there. So we hope you guys all enjoyed today's episode of Esports News. If you guys did, leave a comment down below. We will see you all back here Friday as we finish up on a lot of those stories out there, the League of Legends drama, the Riot Games drama, and more of this Rocket League controversial stuff. We're going to have that in Friday's episode. We hope you guys all enjoyed, and we'll see you then.